Thank you very much for that. So I'd like to invite Marc up next. Marc Beerman, co-founder and CEO of All Things. Don't know if you are, raring to go.
So, good evening. My name is Marc. I'm the COO and co-founder of All Things. We're a Swiss company based in Basel, Switzerland. We just finished the ski season, so that's the reason why I can be here today. And what we stand for is basically we want to have better life in buildings. So what we do is, what is our mission? We digitally transform buildings into lively and valuable places. So what does that actually mean? We looked at the real estate industry, and we're really not from the real estate industry. We're coming from all kinds of industries, and mainly we're coming from the software world and the IoT world. And we entered the real estate industry and really experienced some remarkable challenges, or we saw some remarkable challenges. If you look at how the real estate industry works, from our perspective, I think it's very dysfunctional communication. So if it's about communication between the tenant and the property manager, it's usually by phone. It's not digital at all. In many countries in Europe, the customer experience in many cases is not the best one. The second one is inefficient operational processes. So what you see is that a lot of properties are run like 50 years ago, right? With paper, with pin boards in the hallway, with telephone, with maybe email. And also you have a lot of media disruptions in all the, in the communication between all the different people in the property. And the last one is, right now there's no way how you as an owner of a company, of a property, can actually, deploy new services and business models in a digital way. So the good thing is that tenants are absolutely familiar with using digital technologies to run their lives. In most of the domains, you use digital technology. At work, you do everything digital. Your cars are completely digital. There's one domain which is really not very digital yet, and where you cannot basically run your life in one platform, and this is in real estate. So a lot of the things that we provide in our platform are just standard in other industries. Communicating with your neighbor, issuing tickets to the property manager, the documentation about the building that you're living in, and so on and so forth. And you can expand that. If you think about all the features that would be possible that you could provide as the owner to a tenant, it's basically an unlimited universe. You have opportunities from energy monitoring, from meeting room booking, all these things which are now run, let's say, in separate systems or in different media, can actually all be bundled. And this is exactly what we do. So we provide an application. It's basically more like an operating system. So you can, as an owner of a single building or of a whole portfolio, you can equip every building with an application which is then used by the tenant to basically do everything that he needs to do in that particular building. So this one here, for example, the pin board is a communication to each other. It's very simple stuff. Service center is issuing tickets about damages, which is then going directly to the property manager. It's the documentation of the apartment, documentation of the neighborhood. It is a local marketplace. It sounds very simple, and it is actually simple, but this is something that tenants don't know yet. They have never seen something like that before, and we have deployed it now in a couple of hundred buildings across Europe, and it works. So people appreciate that because they're used to, organizing their lives, with their mobile phone. So you see how this is how it looks like. So what we're about to create is a micro app store, and we call this micro app because these little buttons, they're not fully functional apps. They're basically a micro app within our app, and it's completely modular, so you can do whatever you want with it. So you can plug in any type of function and service that you're interested in to provide to your tenants. You can do that with our platform. So we want to become something like a micro app store for buildings, where not only we provide micro apps, but where we also have a lot of other companies now working with our system to provide services and functions to the tenants, and the owner or property manager of the building decides how he wants to equip each of his buildings. This works for all asset classes, so we have it deployed in office buildings, we have it in co-working spaces, we have it in student homes, and basically every configuration looks different for each of the buildings, obviously. So this one, for example, is an office building in Switzerland. Here you can see this is about meeting room booking, this is guest parking booking, and all these services which are going very much into the building technology We're not providing that. That's someone else, like Ski Data or Siemens. You know, they basically provide a interface into our front end, and the tenant can just use one app to do everything at the same time through one platform, and he doesn't have to work with different applications. So this is something we introduced recently. This is chatbot technology. So basically, we have seen when we work with our customers that, you know, there's an opportunity to use, you know, the combination of machine learning as well as NLP, natural language processing, you know, to make the processes a lot more efficient and also develop new revenue streams for the owner of the property. So here you can see we're using this now with 240 buildings by Credit Suisse. So basically every tenant who moves in, you will get an application, and one part of this application is this e-concierge where you can order local services. And it's all handled by us. It's all automatic, right? You can basically push the button of what type of service you want, and then you have this chat interface where you can communicate with the bot about what you want. It's confirmed. The service provider is getting the confirmation and is then delivering that service. This is for, let's say, more the e-concierge part. We also do this for let's say, the service center, the ticketing. You know, so if you have an issue with your building, we've seen that 80% of all the tickets are the same anyway. You know, and there's no need that the person is actually handling it. A lot of stuff you can automatize, and you can even go so far that that the chatbot is actually issuing an order to a service provider, let's say the facility manager, to repair a broken bulb or something like this. Yeah, so this is what we're deploying now as well with a large customer in the German-speaking part of Europe, and basically developing it further so that, you know, we take more and more away from the property manager in terms of these very profane tasks that he's now usually doing. Thank you. Yeah, so this is the chatbot technology we're deploying. And again, this is just one of the functions that we have in the ecosystem, you know, and that you can basically put into one of your buildings if you're interested. And you don't have to put it into every building, because ours is really like an operating system where you can equip every building differently, and there might be some which require this, and then you put it in and it's there, it's available. So why users love us? It's frictionless, you know, so as soon as you move in, you scan a QR code behind your entrance door as a tenant, and 2 minutes later, you know, you can chat with your neighbors, you can order stuff, you can communicate with your property manager, you can look up, you know, where the next, let's say, bus station is, and so on and so forth. So it's completely frictionless, single sign-on, and everything that is kind of related to the building is integrated. It's social. That's very important because it really drives engagement up, so it makes people use it, which is quite important if you really want to, you know, make the business case, and it's relevant. And why do businesses love us? You know, first of all, our engagement is very high because it just solves a lot of problems. It's a local marketplace, so there's a business model behind it that you can actually sell through the system, you know, and the asset manager, the owner, is actually getting a cut from everyone who's actually selling into this building. It's easy to use, and it's very modular, so you can really equip a whole portfolio, each differently, and it's all in the same platform. So you're collecting a lot of data about what type of interactions, what type of things are happening inside the buildings, data you don't have as an owner right now. You see some of the customers we have won. AXA, Credit Suisse decided to equip a quarter of their whole portfolio now in residential with this application, including the chatbot. AXA as well, so we're really going for this enterprise segment of asset management and large institutional owners, as well in commercial as well as in residential, as I said before. That's the team, just finally myself, and then we basically have a very strong tech team. We have a whole range of investors from the software as well as from the real estate world. Yeah, thank you.